Finance 18 Rich Dad Summary. And so we have all of you here. We are grateful that you are alive and well. It seems like all of you are experiencing overflow. Jerome is working on a deal. Let's see, we know Otis is already rich, and law is just law, laid down law. You know.
Uh-oh, did he freeze? I think he did.
I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, I know he'll be coming back on. There he is.
Okay, yeah. You have the 20 in the summary, Grace. I need to turn this VPN off. But you have the 20 in the summary.
Yes, sir.
So let's go with number 3 again. Number 2 and 3. Let's start there again.
Okay.
Number 2 and 3.
All
and we'll post. They got to write them down. We'll post them after.
Okay.
Because if you post them now, they're not going to pay attention.
All right. Yes, sir.
Yes. So
number
2.
Number 2. If I want to buy something, I must first generate enough cash flow from my assets to cover these expenses. Buy luxuries last, not first.
All right. So this is what made me slow down a little bit. In order for you to buy, well, you know what? Yeah, I learned this yesterday, and I'm not even sure you applied it yesterday. But we want to do that. We want to apply this immediately. We don't want to apply it when we can. We don't want to apply it when we get some assets. That's actually the point. The point is that you're going, okay, when I get some assets, I'm gonna act like that. You're never going to act like that. That's not the way it works. You must become before you act. You must become before you act. So if you don't have any assets, Antonio is telling you, stop buying stuff now. Right now. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay,
right now.
I have an acre of land that I need to purchase, and I need to accumulate the income in order to purchase it.
That is correct. That is correct. Let's break this down then. She has an acre of land, an asset that she needs to purchase, and she is not allowed to purchase it unless she create an asset to purchase it. That's exactly how Antonio behaves. Let me tell you why. Because I do not see the acre of land as an asset. It is an asset. Don't get it twisted. It is. That ain't how I see it. Because it's taking money out my pocket. It's a liability. All right. So I see I'm gonna have I'm gonna have too much extra fun today. I can see that right now.
I got a question.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, please.
Okay. What I just heard was, and I want to, if you can please confirm for me if what I heard was I'm on the right mindset. That acre of land is a liability until that acre of land produces income.
That is making me money.
And then it becomes an asset. So anything we buy is a liability until it creates an income stream for us.
Woohoo! Y'all unmute your mic and clap, please. Woo! Please, that is such a breakthrough.
Yes.
Such a breakthrough.
I'm getting it. Thanks, D.
Okay, so Antonio,
it only took 18 classes. That is such a breakthrough.
The Rev.
That is such a breakthrough. Yes.
Okay, so now we're all going September 30th. We're all going in with 5 Gs, right? When we put that in, that's not a liability, right? It's an asset.
Did it take money out your pocket?
Okay, I got it now. That's all I needed to know. Okay, yes.
Do you understand?
But then when that
kickback
kickback start rolling in, that's when it becomes an asset. I got it.
That's when it becomes an asset, which is why you want
taking money away. That's a liability, right?
Someone say that again.
I was like, when something is taking away from You know what I'm saying? It's still
Okay,
taken
good.
away, even though it's an asset, but it's still taken away right now. But then when money starts coming in, that's when it becomes, when it's taken away, that's a liability. But when it's something's coming in, that's an asset.
This is correct. This is correct. So what are we trying to accomplish here then? If it is not an asset until we make money from it, then what's the point that I'm making here?
Don't buy stuff and don't buy stuff unless you know the moment you buy it, it's gonna start making you money.
Y'all unmute your mic and clap one more time. Y'all are getting this. No. Come on.
Yeah,
Come
so
on.
that
Y'all are
means that
getting this.
it becomes an investment first before it becomes a asset, right? Because if
Say it
you're
again for me. I was transitioning microphones.
okay, it becomes an asset first. If you're getting anything that later on is guaranteed to produce income or guaranteed to produce something that is hard to come from that instead of it just being in the air, whimsical.
Okay, so you almost got it. It's a
It is an
liability
investment.
first. It's a liability first, not an asset first. You have the right concept. Right now, you're confusing assets and liabilities. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. The liability is something that takes money out your pocket. And I don't care if you're buying an asset. If you took it out your pocket, it's a liability.
Got
This
it.
is where me and Robert Kiyosaki agree strongly, and the rest of the world, well, not the rest of the world, but a big chunk of the world disagrees with us. Because I'm going to tell you, he's going to tell you, Grant Cardone is going to tell you, I have no idea what Gary Vee would say. Your house is a liability. It is not an asset. I don't care what they tell you. It is not an asset. It can't be an asset as long as your banker is calling it an asset for him or her. As long as the bank is calling your house an asset, you can't have an asset. So the goal,
The house will only become an asset when you sell it or rent it out.
that is partially true. Yes, that's 100% facts, but it's not the only fact. You understand what I'm saying? No, you're 100% correct, but I don't want you to think that's the only way to make your house an asset.
When you pay it off.
Because when you pay off your house, unfortunately, your house is still not an asset.
Yeah, because if you miss that tax payment, it's gone.
The taxes, the liability, the insurance. If you renting your house out, that's another way to make your house an asset. Or if you have a home-based business and you run your home-based business out your house, that's another way to make your house an asset. You know what I'm saying? So the asset doesn't have to be because it's paid off. Because if something is paid, let's think about this for a moment. If you pay your car off, that is an asset, but strong but here, it is a depreciating asset, number one. And if you're using that car and that car costs you gas and maintenance and etc., that car is not an asset. Because if your car is worth $3,000, but you have to spend $3,000 a year to have your car, it's not an asset. This is very, very, very confusing, not because you can't get it, because all of us were taught the wrong way. And the older you are, the more wrong you were taught. The younger you are, you just wasn't taught. You just flat out wasn't taught. You just flat out wasn't taught at all. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, and Sandra used a term that I want people to be cautious of. The word guarantee. Because very few things in life are guaranteed. So don't assume that something's guaranteed because it probably isn't.
Fair enough. It's a trickster selling it to you, probably. that's for sure.
Tony,
That's for sure. Go ahead, Susan. I want to come back to Sister Booker too. I think she wanted to say something.
kind of a combination of tech and what you're talking about. It brought me back to the early 80s when we selling to the bankers asset liability management program with the computer. So, and then I was the support for around the country for anything regarding the computer or the asset liability management program. And, you know, of course, being in studying business in college and then working in the summers in companies that I did all their accounting and all that stuff for them, I learned that early, you know, and then with the asset liability management program that we did, doesn't mean I always followed that and, you know, didn't know the real estate and all those things. So what you were teaching here for everyone is basically going to save the rest of their lives for
absolutely and it's vital. It's vital. And again, let me because typically when this happens, tempers tend to fly. Tempers tend to fly when this happens. I want everybody just relax. It's okay. And I'm not saying you're not relaxed, but let me just throw this out there. We want to walk on a relaxed road. Okay, we want to walk on a relaxed road. We throw this out there right now. If you're a homeowner, you know, all of you who are homeowners, I'm not telling you you're wrong. There is no right, there is no wrong. We're talking about assets and liabilities. If it costs you more money than it makes you, please take me under consideration that you are holding on to a liability. If it costs you more money than it makes you, so let's take your house. If your house is fully paid off, and it is, and you still pay insurance, and you still pay taxes, you're doing a good civic and civil job maintaining your financial responsibility and ensuring a profitable dwelling. That's the fifth law of gold. You're doing exactly these things. You're doing a good job. It's still a liability. If it costs you more than what it's making you, it is a liability. The trick, here's the punchline. The punchline is, and I said it like, I don't know, class 3 or something, but most of you didn't have a frame of reference for this year. You didn't have as much meat on you financially as you do now. So when I said, this is why the wealthy make money when they spend money. It is never, somebody just asked me, hey, should we send out 5,000 in right now? I told them, hold it. Because let me tell you why. It is never responsible. Well, I don't say never, because never is like saying always. It is not usually responsible. It's not usually responsible to get into a deal and say, ooh, in 2 years, I'm going to make money. Did you see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not telling you, ooh, in 2 years, I'm going to break even. That's good. But I won't start making money until 2 years. That's quite debatable. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is very much so debatable on the negative end of the spectrum. I told y'all this when I showed y'all the economy video by Ray Dalio that says when Grace spends money, Grace becomes Arshia's income. And then when Arshia spends that income, she becomes Susan's income. This is when I told y'all, this is how the economy works. But the wealthy make sure when they let go of their money, they're also making money at the same time. See, we didn't have, that was real early, and y'all didn't have the brilliance that you have now. Should you pay off your house, Yes. Is Sister Booker holding on to an asset? Yes. Can she make that asset make her more money? Absolutely, yes. Even if it's making her maximum money, she can figure out another way. you can never not figure out more ways to make more money. If it costs you, I have a few assets, more than a few. But if they're not making me money, but they're making me spend money while I hold them, they're liabilities. Let's go back to Frida's question. This is why I paused here, because this is her question was very intriguing. If I have land, no, I want to buy land, that's not an asset, that's a liability. Is it an asset? Yes. It is an asset. And I know I'm sounding confusing, but let me clear this up before I get to Grace. Is it by definition an asset? Period. Yes. Is it an asset to Frida locally? No. Is land an asset? Sure is. Why is Antonio saying it's a liability once Jerome put his hands on it? Because ain't nobody trying to put potential in a microwave and eat it. Impossible. The same way, Arshira's not trying to find some potential man with potential. And I know some of you women is tired of dating potential, huh? Make sure I got the right crowd.
You gotta do everything and know how to do everything
okay.
too.
All right.
But that example you told Frida was a good example, because I have 10 acres, and now me thinking as a not an employee but a business owner, I have to think about what's going to work for me. You understand?
Right. And them 10 acres costing you money. Yeah. Them 10 acres cost you money every year. You know what I'm saying? The 10 acres cost her money every year. Is that a bad thing? No. But if they cost her more money than what she's making, them 10 acres is not an asset. Those 10 acres are a liability, which is why she needs to adopt a wealthy mindset and move those 10 acres. Remember, I told y'all, money has no value if it's not moving. If your house is paid off, but the equity in it is not moving, it's a liability. If your land is beautiful, but Walmart ain't renting it from you, it's a liability. This is a tip, and this is not lucky. I thank God for y'all, because y'all a different kind of crowd. Even though y'all churchy, y'all a different kind of crowd, and I do appreciate that, because this is much easier than what this normally happens when I teach this. But when you go into circles where people supposed to have it together, and you start talking about assets and liabilities, and then they don't realize that they know the difference between assets and liabilities, but haven't admitted to themselves that what they're calling asset is liabilities, that conversation gets real violent. What I want all of you to do is I want you to take full account, silently, right, not out loud, full account of what you're calling assets. And ask yourself, is it costing you more money than it's making you? And if it is, it's not an asset, it's a liability. No matter how you slice it, here's why I'm saying this, and I'm giving this to you as the pro-Black Antonio T. Smith Jr. that I am. Do you understand? The reason why that I'm telling you this is a liability is because someone has you in debt slavery and you don't realize it. And your good citizenship or protecting your credit has you bonded in perpetuity to something keeping your reputation up or your security up or whatever that may be. And I'm not telling you that's wrong. I'm just telling you you're going to stay in the middle class like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, go ahead, Phil, then I get Grace.
Well, the asset could be, I mean, it could be a liability if it's costing you more. Say, if it's land and raw land and you own it outright, the cost is taxes.
Right.
You may look at it and
Absolutely.
say, in the next 5 years, I'm going to spend this much in taxes, but the city's going to grow out to me, so I'll be able to sell my real estate 5 years from now for more than what it would cost me to hold it for 5 years for taxes.
Right. And I would say that's a fantastic deal 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying? And I would tell you, field example is extremely realistic. It happens every day, every Tuesday. That deal is happening for sure. This is why land acquisition is such a big deal. It is absolutely correct. And in 5 years, that's going to be fantastic. And in 5 years, that would be worth it. What I would tell Antonio in this situation is during that 5 years, you need to make sure you can maintain that liability. Because it's a liability for sure for that 5 years. Is it an asset? Yes. But when it comes to my bank sheet, it is a liability to me. Of course, I can leverage it for collateral, which then becomes an asset. But until I'm moving it, like Phil's suggestion said, it's a liability for me. For me. You get what I'm saying? Like I think all of you are wise enough to know they love giving you fancy words that we can't read and terms and conditions and contracts, and we just gonna sign anyway. And this is one of those things that we're holding on to things with a bunch of fancy words and don't realize we are now in debt slavery in perpetuity. That's what we are. Like my insurance, well, let's just say my car insurance, this simple car insurance. It's a liability. Is it a good liability? It makes sense. I'd rather have it than not have it. Plus, it don't make sense to be getting tickets and to get the one that, at least in Texas, it says pay to maintain financial responsibility. That ticket is expensive. Let me tell you. That means you don't have any insurance. But it doesn't make sense not to have insurance. And I'm not telling you not to have liabilities. May all of you have. I hope all of you have $1 billion worth of liabilities. Because if you've been listening to me, I will have no debt. I will have no liability that other people are not paying for. So may all of you have $1 billion liabilities. Let's go back to Phil's example. You got land. For 5 years, that land cost you in taxes $3,000 a year. That's very realistic. $3,000 a year in taxes. Grace, share your calculator for me. I need 3,000 divided by 12. I know we can do the math. 12 times 3 is 36. I can do it in my head, but they need to see it. They need to see it. They need to see it.
3,000 divided by 12?
3,000 divided by 12 months. I need to know how much that is per month.
250.
Okay, thank you so much, Grace. You can stop your calculator. Back to Phil's brilliant example, and Grace, don't forget your question. I saw it. Keep your hand up. Back to Phil's brilliant example. In 5 years, Phil's going to make $25,000 a month because the city is going to grow out to him. And Officer Eckers, Lord have mercy. There's no more Eckers. Walgreens, there you go. Jesus, Eckers. Walgreens is going to rent his, because Walgreens doesn't want to own the land. They're going to pay him $25,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? And $25,000 a month, Phil's going to take his $15,000 land acquisition, sell it for $25,000 a month. That's one hell of a deal. Actually, that's not just a hell of a deal. When he died, his kids and the kids' kids will have his picture on the wall. You know, that was great grandpa Phil. You know, that's generational wealth. You know, type stuff there. Go ahead, Phil.
Another good example is McDonald's was never in the hamburger business. It was in the real estate business. They used hamburgers to pay for the real estate. They were a real estate company.
That's it. Yeah, here the hamburgers were the asset. You give the other people's money to pay for the real estate. Right? That was it. Perfect example, Phil. Perfect example.
I had a client that did that with pornography. He would look at a city and he would buy 3 or 4 exits out from where the city is today, buy the land right at the exit. So as the city grew out, they put a cheap building on that land and started selling porn and used that to pay for the asset. So when the city grew out, then he sold the land back to the city.
That is a brilliant man. That is triple dipping. That is triple dipping. That's a brilliant strategy, for real. I might have to do that with myself, just to put a shell company up. That's a brilliant strategy. If you have $3,000 a year, and the reason I want to put these modest numbers, because some of y'all are paying for your car that costs you $3,000 a year. It's paid off, but it costs you $3,000 a year because gas. Well, actually, did y'all see? Let me skip off of that. The oil companies did a double earnings this quarter. Did y'all see that? Double profit earnings this quarter. Double profit earnings this quarter. Put a pin in that. I'm coming back to that because that pisses me off so much. I'm coming back to that, okay? I'm coming back to that. Grace, I'm saying if you own land and in 5 years you're going to get paid well, but for that first 5 years, it's a liability. And it costs you $300 a month. And the reason why I'm stressing this is because I want you to say, this is a liability. Somebody owe me money and somebody's going to pay for this land.
You answered my question. You answered my question. My question was, if my customers pay for this apartment complex, is that still a liability? But it still is. Yeah, I got it.
It is an asset for you.
Yes.
Technically, it is a liability, but you ain't got nothing to do with that liability. Because when you pass off your liabilities to your customers, the government says, come with us. Want to run for mayor? when you pass on your liabilities to your customers, you are listed as a genius. The people who pass on liabilities to their customers wind up being millionaires and billionaires, and they're no smarter than you. But when someone is a millionaire or when someone is a billionaire, they can have no political experience and then run the richest country in the world. Because that's a genius. Are you getting it? In the same manner, if this is to that, then that is to this. In the same manner that I'm telling you, I don't care if it's an asset, it's a liability if it's come out your pocket. Flip that. I don't care if it's a liability. If your customers are paying for it, it's an asset. Congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Assuming that's an income producing asset. That is very difficult to explain. Somebody asked me, well, it's not difficult to explain. It's easy to explain, and it's easy for you to get. And I know you're getting it. The problem is I'm going against what you've been taught, and you're having a struggle between, wait a minute, that ain't what I was taught. And you're having a little Mardi Gras dance in your head between what I'm saying and what you know. But I promise you, it is the truth. It is that simple. Somebody
That's
asked
the
me,
war that's
Antonio,
going on.
yes, ma'am. That's the. You know what? I'm glad she said that because I told Grace and Deanna yesterday, 2 days ago. I was telling them about wealth and poverty and the mindset and etc. And I said every time, and I was talking to them, I was like, listen, now you go make money, you're not. You're going to be wealthy or you're not. You're going to be happy or you're not. You're going to be healthy or you're not. I told Deanna, now you can't go. She's going for a doctorate in naturopathic
medicine.
There you go. All right. She's doing that. She's on the way to school. And I told her, I said, listen, now you cannot. I was on the phone with Ryu. I say, you can't go to naturopathic medicine, dietitian stuff and be overweight. This is what I said. Can't serve two masters. And they both gasped. I said, see, whole time, all y'all want to do is make this about the devil and God. This is about all things. When you can't serve two masters, it's just for the devil and just for the God. You're missing the picture. You're missing the picture. You can't say, I want to save for a house and have bad spending. Can't serve two masters. Got to pick one of them. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, and what they've told us for years, what drives the economy is consumerism.
That dog it.
Who consumes? The middle class and the poor. They do the
That's right.
consumption while the rich people make money off of the middle class and the poor consuming, which drives the economy.
Phil is on it today. That is absolutely correct. I would have left it out. That is absolutely correct. What you have been taught is how to be a fantastic consumer. Remember, this is what they say I need a tinfoil hat on, or this is what I say I'm a conspiracy theorist or a militant when I say things like this. Bank of America teaches you to own where you live, where they rent, where they work.
Watch yourself, sir. You trying to make people angry on this call.
You know, Bank of America is doing their best not to own land. They're doing their very best. They're doing their very best. Why? Because as long as they're written, it's a dollar for dollar tax write-off. It's what it is. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, many businesses, especially banks, would do what's called a sale leaseback. They would sell the property and then lease it back because it was better for them financially to be a lessor or a lessee as opposed to the lessor. So it's called a sale leaseback.
Yep. In fact, I think Tyrell was actually about that not too long ago. Yeah, this year. So, yep. First off, all the and give yourselves a round of applause because this is a very complex conversation that we are having. No, come on, I'm serious. No, yes.
We own it, y'all.
Yes, because I wouldn't understand this 18 days ago. There's no way we can have this conversation, man.
So your audio is kind of breaking up.
That's wrong. Let me cut off the wire.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
You can hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We can, but you sound like a
you
computer.
have low bandwidth.
Motor scooters. All right, we're gonna believe the Lord and
There you
Comcast.
go. There you go.
There we go.
I speak life and peace over you, modem. There we go. Work well.
Like
Can y'all hear me?
Sound like to me.
I was trying to. Let me cut this VPN off to make sure I don't get no problems either. Yes, you can quit and disconnect. Okay, just for a moment. All right. Shouldn't have too many more problems now. I got the internet thinks I'm in Russia and China. And I got all that spy stuff going on. They'll be messing up. They don't like all that. They like tracking me. The private messenger said, Antonio, if we have liabilities, but multiple streams of income, that's a good thing, right? And the answer is always yes. Remember somewhere in your notes I told you there are two ways to exist in, there are three ways to exist in money. You trade time for money, you invest, your money makes money, and you have multiple streams of income. There are two ways to get money. You collect money or you sell what you know. Remember that whole one of those days was that. Multiple streams of income is how you become millionaire, billionaire, six figures. Well, you don't really need it for six figures, but you get what I'm saying? That's how you do that. The multiple streams of income is important. Let's talk about just liabilities for a second. because Phil and Sister Booker, all the feedback has been great, but these two are standing out to me, right? And then Freedom with the Land. These three are standing out to me right now. Liabilities are not a bad thing. Okay, we write all this down. I'm gonna split this. I'm gonna trifurcate this. Write this down. Liability amazing. That's your title. Liability sending you to hell. Put that down. I'm trying to put some emotional phrases out here. You know, I want you to remember it. I'm like, I don't believe in hell. Good. It's emotional enough for you to remember it then. Right? I want you to remember that. Liability amazing. Liability sending you to hell. And then liability slave. There you go. So these are your three categories. And then I want you to write this question. Are liabilities bad? Put the question mark. And I want you to put like 3 lines under the bad, or if you're typing, bold it. It's not the liabilities we want the emphasis on. We want to emphasize on the bad. If you have traditional teachings, they have taught you liability is bad. And that puts you in the liability slave column. So if you are of the information, the school of knowledge that money coming out of your pocket is bad, you're a slave. That your bills are bad, slave. And anything of that nature, you have bought hook, line, and sinker, thank you, Phil, into consumerism. You're hook, line, and sinker, you are there. And that has kept you a debt slave in perpetuity. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, we'll come back to it. Go ahead, Phil, please. This is fun. I'm having fun.
And how do they lock you into consumerism? By giving you credit cards.
I said again, I was muted.
How they lock you into consumerism is they give you credit cards. That's the vehicle they teach you to use to have you be a consumer to get into credit cards. Another thing you got to think about, to a bank, a loan is an asset. Banks' loans are on their asset side. Right. Liability side is with you if you have a loan. But having a loan is using other people's money. It's what you do with that liability. Whether it's worth it or not, but it's using other people's money is what the liability is. But it's only liability if you make it that.
That's right. That's right. That's why we have a liability awesome section, and he just hit on that. We got a liability awesome section. But if you are attempting to get debt free, you are liability. You are in the liability slave column. I apologize. I'm so sorry. It's consumerism, because what you're doing is you're taking your soldiers. You're taking the Lord's army and you're saying, here, Capital One, take my power. Here, Bank of America, kill my troops. Yes. Let me look at YouTube. I hope YouTube is lightened up. Here, take all of my money. I don't want power. I don't want the Lord to be alive. I want to take the light and you put it out. But here, you do something with it because I don't know what to do with my money. That's why I'm paying you off. Liability slave. And here's the deal. Most of the world is sitting right here because you've been ever since 1913. And I mean, Federal Reserve, Industrial Revolution. Ooh, let's teach everybody how to spend more. And then they perfected that. And then somewhere in the early 90s, they brilliantly perfected consumerism. Don't take my word. That's Century of Self 4. I just explained Century of Self 1. I skipped 2 and I did 3. I did 1, 3, and 4. Century of Self. It's a PBS documentary. Please go look at it. Please go. Please. It's boring as hell. It's like reading the book of Leviticus. You may go to sleep. Do you understand? No, you can read. There's plenty of other books that you can read. I thoroughly, if you know the Bible, Leviticus, you need to read. But you're gonna go to sleep. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's some rules and who begets whom and this and some stuff like that. It take a little while. You gotta be somebody that love Bible study to go, oh, Leviticus. All right, man. You understand. It's a different kind of, you're a disciple when you like Leviticus. It's boring. I know Century Self is not going to be fun for you to watch. But if you do watch it, you'll be blessed just like you'll be blessed if you read Leviticus. You understand? Okay. It's just crazy example, but very applicable nonetheless. If you have the desire to be debt free, you're in liability slave. If you pay for your own liabilities and you do it with your income, but just your income, and you never use anything but your income, and you manage your income well, and you use a ledger or financial budget of any kind, and you have more income than you have liabilities, and that's all you use, you're a liability slave. Congratulations. That's no problem. It's a problem, but it's no problem. But if you pay for your bills, like Phil said, and you got loans, you understand. Credit cards. If you have a car note, liability sending you to hell. If you have a credit card and you use that credit card and you don't have the income that credit card has on it, liability sending you to hell. If you bought a house and you didn't have $300,000, but you borrowed $300,000 that you did not have, and you're nowhere near making $300,000 in the next 2 or 3 years, liability sending you to hell. I know you like it because that's like the whole call. I get it, right? You're in one of these categories. It's okay. Just know the liability sending you to hell is when you bought into, ooh, I'll manage my debt and borrow more than what I have and not spend it on assets, but spend it only on liabilities. That is sending yourself to hell. Now, if you borrow more than what you have, if anything I've said thus far, category 2, category 3, but you do that and you say they're not going to get over on me. I just bought a house with this and I rented it out. You in liability awesome. If your customers pay for your credit card, if your renters pay for your credit card, if your dividends, that's different from stocks, in stocks, but different from stocks, it's a payout of a stock. Which is an asset, if your dividends pay for your bills, you have clearly had some connotation. There's no doubt about it. You are clearly doing a good job. If someone else's money is paying for your liabilities, even if you borrowed to create that someone else's money to pay for your liabilities, you, sir or ma'am, are doing an awesome job and you're on your way to millionaire or billionaire. There's no doubt about it. It's 100% consequential. It's the only way to get there. And that is a very complex conversation that we're having that we couldn't have had 18 classes ago. So be proud of all yourselves because I can assure you, you're getting it, and you're going to keep getting it. It's going to keep getting better. Please, Phil, go ahead.
Well, the uneducated in terms of financial individuals are people that put money in things that go down in value. Cars, clothes, furniture, CDs, all those things go down in value. Now, if you're educated well financially, you put money in things that go up in value. Stocks, art, coins, real estate. So that it really comes down to that. Are you putting your money in things that have potential to go down in value historically, or are you putting your money in things that potentially have value to increase significantly?
That's right. That is not only is that the difference, emphasis, bold, 3 times underlined, definite article, that is the difference, the only difference. There is no, you can't re-preach that, can't go around it, can't give a better example. That is it. That is the word of God that was just spoken across to you. There's no other way to explain that. I'm telling you, don't try it. It ain't gonna happen. Oh, well, times have changed. That ain't gonna change. Not what he said. That's not gonna change. It's not gonna change, because while methods change, while people change, while generations change, if you spend money on things that go up in value, you're good. If you spend money on things that don't go up in value, you're not good. If you use your money to spend things that go down on value, you worse than not good. Like you're really tripping, right? You don't want to do that at all. Go ahead, Frida. And I got some private messages too.
Yeah, going back to when you said something about dividends and investing, would it be wise to only invest in the ones that are giving you dividends?
This is a very good question. It's a very good question. I'm the word only there is what's making me hesitate.
Okay.
If you invest in things that pay back dividends, you're doing one great job. You understand what I'm saying? All stocks don't pay out dividends, but all stocks that don't pay out dividends aren't bad stocks either. They're not bad stocks. What you just have to do is make your own dividend. You understand what I'm saying? And so this is, you're going to have education to, well, you're going to have a few things. You're going to have the marshmallow effect that Phil was talking about yesterday. You're going to have to not eat your marshmallow and just hold so it can grow.
That delayed gratification.
That delayed gratification. Then you're going to have to know what you have in. You know what I'm saying? And then it's going to grow with your principle, what you have in, and the difference between that and what it is now. That's your profit. You understand? And then you're going to have enough discipline, and discipline in the realm of education to know, should I keep that profit in, or should I take a portion of that profit and then put it somewhere else? And now I got multiple streams of stocks growing this same way. The only difference here is if you're not buying a stock with dividends, you just got to make your own dividends. You understand what I'm saying? You have to make your own dividends. But both of these strategies are just fine, because in both of these strategies, you're doing everything Phil just said. You're buying something that went up. It is continuously going up. That going up is someone else's money. It's just a blessing on top of a blessing. And then it costs you less money than what it's making you. You understand what I'm saying?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you
so
very much.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Phil. Chime in here. Go ahead.
This idea is going to blow this thing up. We're currently in the news due to the situation that is more of an economic issue than what we realize. Because what do they say it costs to raise a child? The number I just saw was $250,000. So I got $1,250,000 in kids myself. They say it costs $250,000 to raise a kid. Well, if you can't get an abortion, who's going to absorb that $250,000?
Yep. Damn, that was a good point. mm, mm, mm. I want to say so much to it's a whole different class. Though. I want to say so much. So, I will say though, men, excuse me, Sister Brooke, but men, if you could just shut the hell up, we would really appreciate you and just let these women regulate themselves. Just please.
Man, don't get them pregnant in the first place.
Oh, well, that sounds like the cause of the problem right there, Phil. Sounds like you went straight to the cause. But let us not. I read on Facebook, somebody said, it was one of the comedians, that if men got pregnant, abortions are being drive-through, gas stations, and restaurants. I feel like that is very true. Like that is very true for sure. Oh man, it's crazy.
My line is abortion would be a sacrament. It'd be a sacrament. Yeah. That's even better.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
The drive-through. That's crazy.
Yeah, the drive-through. Quick and easy. Liabilities are something that are a blessing. Why? Because in truth, you can't make any money without assuming or taking on a liability. The plan of the wealthy is to pass on that liability, that risk to someone else who wants something, who needs a solution or trying to come up as well. Why? Is that wrong? No, because the only way money exists today is it comes as a liability from the Federal Reserve. And the only way capitalism can survive is liabilities must be passed on to liabilities, must be passed on to liabilities, must be passed on to liabilities. And as Phil adequately pointed out, one of the most clever ways they ever did it was the credit card. I mean, it really, the more financially intelligent you get, you're gonna just have to sit back and admire the brilliance of the system we are trapped in. Somebody, through trial and error, did the most genius, diabolical thing they could do to 7.8 billion people on the planet. You have to realize that if I can account for something, I can control it. So here is, to this day, that's still my most popular keynote on Facebook. Here is some water with a flavor pack in it. Terrible. Don't tell Susan I did this, okay? Don't tell Susan I did this. I know. She's gonna kill me. Don't tell her. Here's some water with a flavor pack in it. Since I can account for this bottle, I can keep it still, I can move it, I can pull it out, do this, or I can burn the plastic and 90% of the energy, which is empty, will release into the atmosphere and I'll just be left with melted mush because that's the actual solid. I can account for it. So if I tell Frida that the crime rate or the murder rate in Chicago is high, you need to understand that if I'm accounting for these statistics with such accuracy, Frida, I'm controlling it too. See, this is why I get in trouble, Jerome. If I tell you that we're going to get to the moon, and I give it to you within 5 minutes, what Bob Proctor says on The Secret, I'm also controlling that flight time through booster rockets, etc., mathematics, curvature of the Earth, all sorts of stuff, right? I'm accounting for the gravitational pull, the release of that gravitational pull, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if I also tell you that Chicago is murdering people, I'm also controlling that. I'm either pumping guns in or I'm doing nothing about it, which is still controlling it. Either way, if I know the data, I'm manipulating the data, right? It's the same way in your finances. You understand what I'm saying? If you're not writing that down, if you're not controlling that data, your money is running from you. Phil, go ahead, please. This is fun.
This may be extreme, but when we had kingdoms, the king literally had the right to have sex with your wife before you married her. That was part of the kingdom's right. So we had these kingdoms. Then people started saying, wait a minute, that ain't right. So then it morphed into democracy. If you had a democracy, you're never going to vote for that. So that's what we're dealing with today in Ukraine. Are we going to let democracy win? Or are we going to let autocratic dictatorial win? Because that's what the big battle is right now on this planet. Is will the
aristocrats, I think,
aristocrats win, or will the democracies win? And that's one of the issues we're dealing with right now. So that's what you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's not extreme. That's quite accurate. That's quite accurate. That's quite accurate. And I did not know that the king could sleep with your wife before marriage. King got to catch these hands. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Just trying to make sure she's right.
Well, I understand. You die for stuff like that today. You understand? Don't y'all try to make sure Phil is right. Susan got them hands. You know what I'm saying? Just so you know. The money system is fantastic. It is a blessing. I am so proud of it. Once you understand it, you can manipulate it. You understand? The same way they manipulating the crime rate or manipulating. Now there's a reason why we're so hard on abortions. I won't tell you why. I'll tell you offline. I'll send you the documents like I did to the team. It's just too much. But it has everything to do with money and power. If you just find yourself getting in there, you'll be fine. Grace, do me a favor. Read 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
All right. So, okay. So you skip number 3, right?
No, we've been talking about 3 though. No, we've been talking about 2.
We talking about number 2. So,
Okay. 2, 3. I mean 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 to 10.
Okay. Number 3. Excess cash flow generated by my assets should be reinvested into other assets. Okay.
That came up when Frida was talking. That's you got to make your own dividends. Is what I was talking about there. Keep going.
Okay. Number 4. Do not simply aim for more income. Aim for more assets.
Yes. Well, we're still not going to get to 10x at no time soon. Every time I want to just, I want to move. But there's so much. There is so much here that I just think, all right, okay, Grace, read that again. Gosh,
but I'm ready.
Yeah, I don't want to do y'all a disservice. Oh, you got your book. Good.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. But I love where we at. Let's stick and stay for a minute.
Well, we're gonna have to, because what's happening is I'm having a clash between my desires and your desires. You know what I'm saying? Les Brown has a really good way of saying that. He says, never confuse what you want to say with what your audience wants to hear. And I'm having a clash with this right now, because I want to get the 10x, because it just helps so much. It'll speed up my own desires, and make Grace move faster, and it just do so much. But blah 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 blah. So I need to slow down. The good thing is, because so we get ready to end, but let me tell you, everybody has agendas. Every time you talk, you're making an argument. There is no unbiasedness. You know what I'm saying? We can be objective as much as possible. And we all have agendas. My agenda was, I want Monica, Phil, Susan, everybody taken care of. And I realized that what I'm asking, which is very simple, and my head is, and simple to do, period, objectively. But there needs to be a foundation in Grace, in Deanna, in Phil, in Susan, to where on our way to blah, wherever, there are connections and deals and investments being made along the way. You understand what I'm saying? And the way, so I'm sitting there in meditation, I was saying, okay, and this was very early in the year. This was like January when I decided to do this. I just knew, like, this is why all the irresistible things was coming. This was in January. I knew I was going to have to do personal finances for a long time, because the goal is to make everybody healthy and then move, not move and then hopefully you'll get healthy one day. That works in the matters of salvation. That works. It's what Jesus did. Jesus said, go, Frida. And where are your accusers? Oh, I ain't got none. Well, neither I accuse you. Go and sin no more. He didn't say, stop sinning and then go. Like, get right first, and then you can leave my sight. He said, no, you leave my sight. You know what just happened here today. And as you continue to reflect upon this, you will be blessed. That works in the matters of love, kindness, and salvation. When it comes to money, you need to slow down and make sure that you are healthy. Go ahead, Phil.
Just to make your head explode. How many abortions were they in the United States since Roe versus Wade? Any guesses? Anybody want to guess? The number of abortions since it.
Wow. A million?
63 million.
And I'm 61 million?
63 million in the United States. That would make us, that would be the 23rd largest country on the planet. Just after France and just above South Africa, Italy, England, Kenya, Myanmar, Colombia, South Korea, Uganda, Spain. All those would have less populations. There's been 63 million abortions since Roe Wade, which would rank it as the 23rd largest country in the planet. And that's just the United States.
That's just the United States, yeah. It's incredible. Incredible. I have no thoughts on this right now.
Yeah, right.
I haven't processed that information. I need to sit with that for quite some time. That's for sure. Wow. Wow. Yeah, there you go. There you go. The Frida, you, ma'am, are going to watch your finances. You are going to invest properly. Jerome is going to learn how to make money when he spends money. You know what I'm saying? Like immediately. Now, and of course, there's some leeway with this immediation, 30 days, 60 days, but just, at the same time, there's some leeway with there. But let's not wait 5 years to be blessed. Yes, okay, let's not do that. Because by the time you get 5 years, you might be in an economic downturn, which, by the way, you just had the Dow do incredible. So you know what happens. Even if it goes incredible today, you know what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. It's going to crash. It's going to crash because, y'all pay attention. Is it going to crash because that's how it works? Partially correct. It's not going to crash because there's some force making it crash. And it's not going to crash because it's the cycle. Partially correct. All these things are partially correct. It's going to crash because the market is regular people that are going to say, oh, I won. And go look at Susan and go, we won. What should we do now? shit, sell so we don't lose. And then it's gonna crash. All those people who won are going to panic and then sell so they don't lose, and that's gonna cause a crash. But all the things you know about the cycles, the crashes, to this, they're right. But it's more of a cycle of how people work in that economy, because it's the people. The reason I'm stressing this because I really want you to know all money comes, as far as you're concerned, from people. Stop making it some imaginary thing that scares the hell out of you. It's just people. Okay, go ahead, Phil.
Well, and the price of the stock hit a point where the big investment companies have a sell order in. Yep. And they take their profits to get them back down to where their investment is. So let's say you bought the stock at 2, it's at 4, it goes to 4, you sell it, so your costs are back at 2, you take your profits, and then you play with house money.
Yeah, and I have a conflict there. It happens all the time. I have a conflict there because the reason my conflict sits there because we don't really let the people do that. And when we do it, you get mad at us. You know what I'm saying? This is why I'm still going to be on the side of Wall Street Bets Group. You know, I'm still going to be on their side. You know, I if it's good for the goose, it'd be good for the gander, right? You know what I'm saying? My conflict is the system is rigged for the big guy to win all the time. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And of course, this is my incarnation. I'm the champion of the little guy. This is me. I've been doing this since I was a kid. I was in CPS fighting other kids because they was messing with the little kid. So this makes sense that I'm saying this. And this is part of my psychological breakdown. And I don't mean breakdown as in analysis. I mean deficiency. I am broken psychologically. And this is how the Lord uses that brokenness to fight for the little man. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it works. That's how it works. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I stand for something and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But I have a conflict there, and I'm glad Phil brought it up because this is why I want you to learn 48 laws of power. You need to learn what's being used to oppress you. So you account for it. And you don't have to stop being an empath. Just when you see it, you know how to maneuver around it. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you to account for it. And then you can move properly. You know what I'm saying? Okay, go ahead, Frida.
Okay, Antonio, I learn differently as most people do. And you have been so diligent about giving so much information. But my problem is that I would love for you to, you know, my situation, you know, where I'm going with the technology piece and starting a business and where I want to go with that. So if you could, in your spare time or when time permit, give me like a bullet point of step 1 or step 2, how to, like a path, a roadmap to where I need to be. Like step 1, I need to start doing this.
Okay, it's going to happen in this class. I was expecting, the reason why I want to get to 10X pretty quickly, but I was doing in this one, is because I have, this is a personal finance sheet that I want to force y'all to do.
Yes.
This is what you're talking about. I have it, and I was asking Grace for my logo so I can put my logo right here. That's why I was asking for the logo.
Okay.
I want you, you're going to put in here, and then it's going to, it may change looks. I may change the look, but I want you, like when you put in, you know, your stuff, I'm working on it to where you put it, hold on, I can't see because darn Zoom stuff is in the way. Get down here. There we go. You know, so when you do this, you know what I'm saying? When you do these things, like when you switch, it goes to the, you know, the numbers and stuff, and it switches it over for you, because what you're asking is good, but not if you don't understand how to budget. I can give you the steps all you want to, but you're still going to move however you understand finances. So I'd rather, just, so old folks say, slow down to speed up. I'd rather slow you down, teach you the budget. Then when you're moving in steps, you step into something of consumerism, you go, oh, no. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. The reason why we're so focused on programming now is because 3 years ago, I spent a pretty penny for a company to do a program, and they didn't do it right, and it was a debacle. It was just a debacle. Let me just say what it is, right? It was a debacle. And so silently, I didn't say nothing. I didn't complain. Just took my loss, paused, Ricasa, basically, right? Paused and said, we're going to do this ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? And that sounds like me, though. That sounds like something I would do. That sounds like somebody says, you know what? We'd never take another financial loss like that again. Not out of spite. I'm just saying, all right. Going out there, that's consumerism, getting somebody else. We gonna do that and control our own consumerism. You know what I'm saying? Control our own, et cetera. Now we got full control. Now that can never happen again. And then Antonio, being as benevolently slick as he is, now I'm saying, let's create a company like that full of freedom. That's why I'm teaching you programming. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm not doing it myself. I'm saying, let's bring the Molly with me, and anybody else who wants to, which is why I shrank Mexit to private, because that's pretty much a big point of the conversation we're going to have there. Who wants to do this? Because anything I have, I've learned, so I'm giving that away, building that. And you can go out or you can stay in. The reason I'm bringing it up, and that very transparent, because I did the right steps. But when you still got to pay something out or do something out, you can still get messed over. So you may want to know how to budget and then do those steps. You understand what I'm saying? And if you've been here long enough, that's exactly what I'm talking about. No, go ahead. Don't worry about it, dog.
Yeah, I was thinking about more like generating that hard asset. Like, where do I get started in generating that income? Now, the income, the money, that I generate, I already know. Okay, leave it, make your money, make money. Don't squander it. Don't, I'll do whatever you say do, with the money, but I need to get on a clear path of generating that money.
Okay, who else needs this? What she's talking about? Who else needs to know how to generate? Okay, got Renee. The question is, it's pretty simple. I need to know from step one to step whatever how to generate money so I never be here again. Who else?
Hallelujah. Yes, that's it.
All right then. So what we'll do is sound all right. Well, that's unanimous. And what we'll do is tomorrow, we'll start that tomorrow. Ain't no sense in, this the old preacher say, forget your agenda. The Holy Spirit that showed up. We gonna, say we gonna change the church programming. It's time to preach right now.
This girl's on fire. She's ready. I'm on the job. See you at work.
Yes, for sure. And Grace just reminded me about something I say is this. What we do is I'm gonna interweave both. But tomorrow, let me give you your homework. All of you need to account for where you are. That's cool. That's easy. Let's do the 6-figure goal again. That's what we do. We'll do the 6-figure goal. We're gonna get to 100,000. The reason I'm picking that move because it's gonna stretch most of you. Let me give you a hint there. Don't try to get to 100,000 in one day or 1 month. Talisha said her too. Good. The reason why I'm telling you not to do that, because you're not really building a sustainable system doing that. Here's your hint. We're going to build what's repeatable. If it's repeatable, it can be systemized. It's a system. You understand what I'm saying? I know if you can repeat $100,000 in a day, like Jeff Bezos, do it every hour, every minute. Well, God bless you. That's good. Teach me. I'm your student. You know what I'm saying? But let's go with what's repeatable. Well, let's go. Tomorrow we're going to do 100,000. I'm going to stay right here. We're going to still go through these 4, 5, 6. It's easy. But you need to be ready to ask all your questions. I'm going to fix this though. I'm going to restrain you. It has to be personal. No general questions. Nothing to make you look smart. Otis is going to say, okay, Antonio, look, I got this. What would you do? What should I do? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be personal because what you're asking is brilliant and everybody said unanimous. And in order for me to serve all of you properly, I need to push that into a Q&A format so everybody can get what they want, right? You know, and when you get your question answered, you're like, ooh, that was exactly what I needed. You know what I'm saying? I need everybody to feel that way. Plus, I don't need you coming here on some Mary Poppins, stuff. I need you here to say, look, the sky is falling in my house. All that I got an umbrella singing these Disney songs on this Zoom call I'll be doing is a lie. You understand? Damn house is falling apart. The sky is falling. And I'm thinking about going to get a second job. I need that. You know what I'm saying? I need that. Even if you private message it to me, I need that so I can genuinely help you generate. The second thing, so the first, let me say this concisely, write this down, Grace. You have to be personal in your pursuit of your questions towards me. The second thing, there's only two things. I'm trying to politicize it, but I can't. The second thing I need you to do is you got to show up every day. Even if you show up to a replay, it's on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You got to show up every day. The reason I'm saying that, because it's a language. And I'm sorry, but you cannot cram a language and learn it. You can't go into Spanish class right now, but okay, teach me everything in one day. That is not going to work. It's a language. Financial intelligence is a language. I don't mean like the words are different. I mean it's a language. You can tell who is financially intelligent when they speak. I watched Phil yesterday, last week, like 3 times last week, but certainly yesterday, I watched Phil say something absolutely brilliant. It was exactly what was need to be said. And I watched y'all go, nah, I don't want to do that. And in my head, I'm thinking, why did you do that? But I don't say nothing because you got free will. You know what I'm saying? So you need to get that what's in you is coming out of you. Every time you speak, I can hear your financial level of intelligence. I may not say anything, but you tell on yourself every time you talk when it comes to finances. So you have to show up every day so I can change your language. Here's why, because I'm speaking all personality types. This is why, because if you understand a nation's language, you immediately gain empathy for that nation. It's very hard to be racist against Hispanics when you're fluent in Spanish. Your views on immigration will change when you are fluent in Spanish. When your daughter marries an African man, you will see Africa differently. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's a vibration.
That's it. That's it. So I need you to get empathy for these finances. And when you walk out of here and someone says, when Sister Booger go, now I got a sweet deal, and you hear the sweet deal, you got enough empathy to know it's a sweet deal. And all that thinking about it, don't do that. Or when somebody say, I got a Brooklyn and Bridge to tell you. Bridge in Brooklyn to tell you, hey, watch out now. You need to know the difference. You need to know the difference, because everybody, I heard somebody say this a long time ago as we end. Somebody, it's like way in 2006, somebody said, oh, everybody talks about money. They're just not talking about it correctly. But and I thought about that. Every single household on the planet has multiple daily conversations about money. It's just not correctly. But money don't grow on trees is a conversation about money. Money absolutely grows on trees and other things too. It grows from plastic. It's generated fiat for no reason, etc. Those are the two things. Grace, hopefully you wrote those down. Send it to them. Tomorrow, your homework in conciseness. Your homework is go view your financial situation. Some of you are like, bro, I ain't gonna do that right now. I know right where I stand, and I understand. I completely understand. But we still got to go. So you got to come back tomorrow. You go and you bring your financial statement in your head, and we'll go through all of it. And I want you to personally get angry or whatever is a good vibration for you and say, I ain't gonna let this happen. And we're going to set a goal for $100,000, write this down, by May 4th, 2000 and whatever next 23. And watch this. And your first benchmark there is to generate $5,000 a month. That's your only benchmark by September 30th. Why is that? So you can do a real estate deal. That's your benchmark. Those are very realistic goals. Reason why I'm saying that, and my sister bookers and Susan Sorrentinos are wise enough to catch what I'm doing. If we're gonna do a deal that's $5,000, going in on an apartment complex, 20 people do $5,000 on an apartment complex, then it's best for me to make it a little bit harder for you, because practice is always harder than the test. Is to say, we'll do $5,000 a month then. Because if you keep trying to do $5,000 a month, you're going to fall on $5,000 at least. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you to at least fall on your investment. So go hit the $5,000 a month. Is that easy? It's not it's not easy. I want to give you sweet words, but it's not easy. $5,000 a month is not easy. It's not easy. I'm not gonna lie to you. And you're missing a lot of things. Trading power most prominently. $5,000 a month is not easy. It's equivalent to selling a $200 product to 50 people a month. That's not that easy. Okay, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. And even though that was, that didn't actually equal 5,000, a little bit more. What it did was I assumed you had cost of producing whatever you do in it. That's what I did. That's one thing I've already accidentally taught you by that. Whatever you trying to hit, you got to shoot more for it, because there's cost that goes involved with that. That's kind of why I want to get to 10X, and I'll bring it in. So this, all of you are underestimating how much it costs to make you and your company a big deal. Let me end you with this, because this is really, you're going to hear this again in 10X, just differently. Your company costs a lot of money. And you said, well, no, it doesn't, because I built it and I don't pay for it. Yes, you do. Because in order to get that fan base and that customer base you want, it's going to cost you about $1.2 million. Just stay in business long enough, you'll see. And software, advertisement, it's going to cost you. And all of you are going to spend about $1 million through leveraging, negotiations, whatever, just to make $5,000 a month. We don't want to underestimate this. We want to approach this now. That in order to get the $5,000 a month, that's $60,000 a year, you're looking at about $500,000 you're going to have to pay out. Whether that be from you helping other people, like when you go and say, listen, I'll do this conference for you for free, you're giving up your keynote salary, that's you paying. Do you understand? Whatever that may be, you're going to have to do things to get that $60,000 a year. And it's going to cost you almost 10 times the amount that is. It's the purpose of 10X. It's going to cost you that much. So if I'm telling you how to make $60,000 a year, I need you to process, you're going to spend energy and effort, $600,000 a year. And as we close, the reason why y'all never get the $5,000 a month is because you're not willing to do $50,000 a month in energy, negotiations, and marketing a month. That's why you fizzle out. Because you're grossly underestimating the $5,000 you want is going to cost you $50,000 through deals, negotiation, classes, education, webinars, seminars. It's going to cost you that much. And most people don't have the discipline to keep moving forward in that. And if we win, and we will, you all would be some of the smartest people on planet Earth financially. And hopefully you have enough light in you to go share it. You don't owe me nothing. Go out there and create your own webinar, seminar, morning meeting, and give this information back out there. My job is to create 100,000 millionaires. It is not to profit off 100,000 millionaires, just to create them. I only need 1,000 of y'all. You understand what I'm saying? To come back and say, I appreciate you. You give me 5 Susans, we can do something. You know what I'm saying? I don't need that much. Don't need that much. And tell your T. Smith Jr., you can flat better. You can dominate. We'll see you all in an hour for Esoteric. And God bless you. Y'all shouldn't let me talk because it's a good one. Love you, everybody.
Love you more.